Alright guys, welcome back to Valorant News. One of the craziest stories in Valorant history is continuing with Loud, the reigning world champions and honestly expected to go very far in this tournament, knocked out by Edward Gaming, the Chinese team making waves this event. What does this mean for the future of Valorant and whether many players might be concerned about their jobs as the Chinese scene continues to prosper? Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. First of all, thought this was quite nice here for Marv to kind of talking about missing Ye. We don't really know what's going on with Ye right now, what his future might be after getting removed by DSG. At least that's the understanding. I don't actually believe technically when DSG released their roster that he was in the release graphic because they used their original one with no Ye, but still, he's not on DSG anymore to the best of our understanding. So yeah, Marv and Ye, I mean, great duo it was on OpTic, but right now NRG looking pretty good. Marv's on Sentinels, and Ye finds himself in a tricky spot, absolutely, especially with other regions coming to play. This also, quick teaser, I can already hear the barking of some of the Valorant kids for this one, but there's a bit of a teaser for the new agent. You can see the eye here, it's kind of turned on its side, the side of the face, the hair, all this type of stuff. So anyway, new agent coming soon. That's what we've got up to update on that side of things. And let's just dive into this whole situation. This I thought was crazy as well from cNed actually, that he used to be a fencer when he was younger, it seems. And in this video, he used to fence, and therefore he actually had this injury with a load of athletic tape on his hands because he had a joint inflammation from an old fencing injury, which you guys can see here. So pretty wild. I mean, this guy, he is straight up the main character. Absolutely, there is no doubt about it. And he's writing his own story right now. And this was the series. So this is Loud, the team that people thought nobody was better than for a time last season. And it seems like nobody is better than this team, as we'll see in a second, right? With nobody being the player for Edward Gaming, of course. But man, what a crazy turn of events. This Loud team, they haven't been super impressive this tourney. But going down the way they've done to Evil Geniuses and to EDG, right? EG and EDG both taking them down and not even winning a map. I mean, it is absolutely insane for the reigning world champions to come in. They just won their own region, and they just haven't really turned up this tournament, Loud. I was impressed by Loud for some time, but I never quite thought they were the same team that they were previously. And even Sassy was on stream last night, I think laughing a little bit at their expense in some of the rounds they were throwing away. Edward win map 1, and it then goes map 2, and unfortunately we don't get, we didn't really see Aspas here on the Jet. I would have loved to see the proper Aspas versus cNed matchup there on the Jet. But yeah, Edward making the comeback, they tied it up at 9. And what impresses me the most is in the icy situations where they need to turn up, they just seem to be very good at them, right? It's not like they have great composure in addition to all the other great things they've got going for them. So they tied up at 9, and then this round happens. And this has raised a lot of questions, actually, as to whether stuns generally just need to be buffed, because the fact that nobody can be technically stunned in this situation and get away with this is pretty much absurd. It obviously isn't affecting him really at all, and nobody just comes around. Okay, it's difficult to do this, don't get me wrong, but the fact that nobody can get a 3k there has many people saying, well, how is this allowed, right? How are stuns just going to be completely useless, right? The breach stun just doesn't seem to do anything, and yeah, he gets those 3 kills, that secures them the round. That's a 12-10, and swiftly enough, that's a 13-10. The number 1 seed from the Americas region. We thought Edward Gaming, attacking Seoul Esports came in here being pretty good as well, but I thought Edward would hopefully get out of their groups. I was looking forward to them making a potential run, but I would never have expected them to get a result like this. And look at the emotion on cNed's face, right? The way that this goes. It is just awesome to see how much it means to these guys and the future of their team, and also the future of the region in general. So yeah, what a wild result. Loud go down 2-0 out of the tournament, beaten by EG and EDG. Not even contenders, theoretically not even contenders before the tournament. So big questions to be raised for them, but they'll be back come the World Championship. A similar thing actually happened last year where Loud are very good, then they fell off a bit, didn't have a great performance at Masters, then they came back and won Champions. So it could still happen, but yeah, wow. Edward Gaming, man, they are the real deal. And even as cNed says here, as I say, this guy's straight up the main character. Ever since we scrimmed them them back in Brazil. He was my nightmare. He's talking about Aspas here. In countless dreams, I faced Aspas and was destroyed by him. Today, my bros were so good. I really love them so much. Also, I didn't cry before I become a world champion. Kang will never cry, he says. So, yeah, what a crazy story that is, that he's been looking for months at Aspas as the player that he really aspires to be like, and then gets the chance to play him and takes him down. And it wasn't just a one-man show. Obviously, it's not just Kang carrying the team on his back. Yes, he's their best player. Yes, he's their most impactful operator player. But, you know, a lot of those guys deserve a lot of credit. Nobody especially. Like, when this guy is on point, when this guy has great maps, they're really difficult to beat. And a lot of reaction here, for good reason, from global players. Boaster says, everyone better start thinking of a new backup plan. Chinese teams don't want or need you. And this is the funny part of the joke, right? Because for months now, it's an NBA meme originally, right? Where people say, it better learn Chinese, buddy, because in the NBA, some of the washed up players, they will go to move to the Chinese league for the last couple of years of their career, really, in a similar way that players in football or soccer, right, they'll move to the MLS or they move to Saudi Arabia at the moment for the last few years of their career. So, yeah, that's the meme that originated from the NBA. Better start learning Chinese, buddy. But as Boaster says, better start thinking of a new backup plan, because Chinese teams don't even need you. Like, they're just too good on their own. And this is going to be massive. I mean, especially because the game is only in like a beta state over there. Like, it's early days for Valorant in China. And we talked about it when it was announced and when China were going to get plenty of spots around the world, that eventually that scene will become very competitive. But for Edward to do what they're currently doing, not like they're unbeatable or anything, but to beat the world champions in the manner that they've done is incredibly impressive. And as ShahZaM says, yeah, wow, straight up. And even as FNS goes, I'm getting ready to learn Chinese myself, because maybe it's going to be necessary in the coming years for players not just to learn Chinese because they're washed up and they need to go to a worse league, but you actually might need to learn Chinese to even get a spot on the best teams if all the players are going to be Chinese, right? And I don't think it's going to trend in that direction. But Chinese teams are certainly showing themselves to be a serious threat to, and Ethan even tries to predict the future. Kang MVP of Tokyo after a 3-1 slaughter of Fnatic in the finals, glows plus 30 and a best of 5 to win Tokyo. Remember this tweet, he says, and in fairness, EGR's still in the event, so maybe he wants to focus on his own team performance. Will just say quickly on Loud that, 2022, they had a pretty similar run of form, actually. Second at the first international tourney, same thing this year, goes out 0-2 at the second international tourney, and then wins champions. So, yeah, possibly they'll do it again, but yeah, I'm not sure they're quite so good this year, and I know that Sean Gers gave his thoughts as well on exactly what happened to this team.
The map one already in the pocket of EDG, and we have a walkout.
Oh my God!
Didn't they end another game like this with a double kill?
Once again appears, and Les needs to deliver. Stands for the first, turns to flash, overwhelmed.
It's done. GG. That's it. Wow. They eliminated Loud.
The leader faces the music, faces the loss, and Loud are left in tatters. Yeah. EDG live to fight another day.
Wow. He's crying, dude. I got chills. I don't know why. Wow. I got chills.
Loud.
They're so good. Yeah. What the man? They're so good. That's very impressive for sure.
Honestly, like, they looked like a shell of themselves, but they did lose both pistols, both bonuses, right? Like, I feel like no matter what happens for the rest of the game, they weren't winning it. Like, that you can't do that. Lose both pistols, both bonuses. Like, they just didn't look good ever at this event. I don't know. It's very weird for me to see. And it makes me feel like something weird happened with, like, the team. Maybe they got, like, sick or something, or maybe something happened. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm coping, but they did not look like themselves. They're also not running their normal comps, so I don't know. This is weird tourney for Loud. And these neon comps just fell so flat, like so flat. And this is a large reason why teams, when the community always roasts teams for, like, not changing comps and stuff, this should be like the case study. This is literally the case.
So this is such a crazy timeline for China, and it's going to be huge for the popularity of it over there and the teams they might be able to build in the future. Even with just this result, even if EDG go out now and that's it for their tournament, it's pretty wild what this might affect Valorant in the future. And yeah, it's kind of like the Zeta run in Masters, actually, that Will Minder kind of refers it to. These were the overall numbers for the series. I mean, nobody just did a great job, and it's crazy actually to think about. The plus minus for all of these players is directly 0. You don't see that that very often. With, so overall in the lobby, the amount of first kills, first deaths, so not plus minus KD, but first kills, first deaths, is equal between all the teams, which is pretty rare anyway, that one team has exactly the same amount of first kills, first deaths as the other team, but especially when it's distributed so evenly across the players. Kankang 9-9, like, I've never seen anything like this before. Lotus 13-6 and Fracture 13-10, and just to think that they went, what, 26 in 16 round count, while getting an equal number of first bloods over the series is, they actually had less first kills than Loud did game 1, but yet they still won 13-6. Just shows how fundamentally well they're playing, but also, got to be said, some criticism on the Loud side. So they're out of the tournament, they've got some questions to answer, and then we got DRX NRG. DRX's record against NRG or OpTic is just straight up not good at all. Crashies, I don't know how he did so well in this spot actually, but it was big because they were down 8-4 at the half here, DRX, or NRG, sorry, to DRX, and then they brought it all the way back. So this was a big round, especially here from Crashies, to somehow, he has no health at all left at this point, and he still manages to get away with a couple of kills. This third one as well was massive round actually, because if they lose this, you never know how the rest of the game's going to go. But Crashies, as usual to be fair, turns up when his team needs him the most, and then it went to map 2 on Haven, and this was comfortable, right? DRX got stomped here. So they've not been particularly impressive for some time. It felt honestly somewhat inevitable that they were going to lose this series just because they lost to DRX without something, or they lost to PaperX, sorry, without something. So I thought that NRG were going to take them down. That's what happened. 2-0 for NRG. They advanced DRX and Loud out of the tournament at the first possible hurdle. Great series from Victor. 13-11 Pearl, 13-5 Haven, not even particularly close, and a quick 2-0 here for NRG. So man, going into the World Championship, teams like DRX and Loud have some really big questions to answer, getting outplaced the way they have done by teams that they should expect to be beating. And yes, NRG, I'd expect them to win this series, but still, the fact that the likes of EDG and even the likes of Edward Gaming are outplacing Loud and DRX is a big wake-up call for them if they haven't had one already. So this is the way the bracket now looks. Today, or at least tomorrow morning, we go into the next couple of series. Those are the upper semi-finals. Liquid EG, that's going to be a banger. Really interesting, because Edward are looking really good, and Liquid managed to take them down. Close, but they did manage to take them down. But EG also took down Loud. So I don't know how to call that one. I feel like a 2-1 to Liquid might be a reasonable prediction, but EG, I have some faith that this team is still absolutely god mode. So we'll see how it goes. And then PaperX Fnatic. Surely you think at this point PaperX get put down and Fnatic will go fourth. And at that point the bracket would then flip such that PaperX would play Edward in that case, and EG or Liquid would, I believe, play NRG, because otherwise a possible PaperX DRX rematch could have happened already. So I imagine the bracket will then flip there for lower round 2. But very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.